share more light on why we are here today?
Okay, basically, Work and Emotional Balance Conference is an annual summit that tries to promote mental health education by leveraging on dialogues with mental health experts, survivors, and then mental health advocates. So, why we're here today is that this is the third edition, and more importantly, theme is preventing suicide, the role of stakeholders. So we're using this medium to, charge every stakeholder to wake up on their roles and play their roles in preventing suicide.
Okay, what would you say stakeholders? What would you say should be their take in this whole depression suicide thing?
Okay, stakeholders, first of all, because I need to define them, you includes the media, includes the sister, the brother, the cousin, the mental health expert, the healthcare professional, the lecturers, the survivor himself, and every other person that is a human being. So these are the stakeholders, and what is expected of them is simple: to just step up their roles. Many stakeholders have been passive. For instance, you look at the aspect of the government. For a long time there hasn't been a mental health bill. For to ensure that mentally ill persons are, not just how do I put it now? Not just ensure that they have access to quality health care, but most importantly, the stigma attached to it should also be addressed. That's for the government aspect and policies. You look at the instances of teachers, that talk down on their students or their pupils, say very unpleasant things that affects, their self-esteem. And you look at friends who mock persons with mental illness, they create jokes around it. You look at the comedians who think, oh yeah, I need to crack people up, but then who am I going to use? Someone who committed suicide, or someone who says he or she is depressed, or a celebrity who comes out and admits that, I'm suffering from depression. These things have to be curtailed. If not, we're not going to stop. The increase of suicide and suicide attempts will continue.
You say mental health issues is giving the needed attention it deserves here in Nigeria.
I think it's a no-brainer. We don't need to argue this. It's not giving the right attention, because if it was, we would have a mental health bill as I speak to you. At the time, Lagos State had a policy, or rather a bill that says, if you attempt suicide and you are caught, you would have to be jailed for 1 year. No developed nation, has such policies, because they understand mental health requires, great policies, and require anyone suffering from mental illness requires care. So I think mental health issues are not, given the most attention that it is.
Do you mind sharing with us some of the peculiar stories of people living with mental health illness? What are their triggers and what are the things people can do to help them?
Okay, let me start with, what even happened was, all I did was put on my Instagram page, and I had mental health advocates, and I was at a workshop where I met someone and we got talking, and it was time for networking. So I follow me on Instagram, I follow back, and then just by saying mental health advocate, this guy reached out to me and told me while he was in secondary school he suffered bipolar disorder. That's the mood swing, extreme high and extreme low. And this led at some point, caused him to, even tear all of his certificates that he earned, from professional certificates and all. So that is one case of a bipolar. Depression, attempted suicide. I've had an older friend call me that, I feel so worthless. I feel like I've not achieved so much at my age. She's over 40, and then saying, I'm just tired of the whole thing. I cut myself. Some people are unemployed and they feel very depressed because they can't even participate in social gatherings. And some young ones have suffered battering, emotional abuse, and physical assaults that they can't even come out there to enjoy a social gathering because no one is going to allow them speak. They are rather going to stigmatize them for having gone through an experience. And there's the social media aspect where before you say a thing, tons of youths who are not as informed as they ought to be are bashing